right, welcome to week 3 of Community Extras. Hope you guys are having a great discussion and growth in your communities. I know they really are the backbone of our church. It's where for a lot of people, the truth on Sunday morning gets into practical application. They take some steps of faith and they connect with some people that they get to pray together with, that they get to kind of seek the Lord with. And just hope you're encouraged and hope your leader is encouraged. Thank you to your leader for jumping in and serving so well. We're in a series called Mixtape, looking at 10 of the more influential sermons throughout the 10-year history of Emergence Church. We have a big celebration coming up in April as we gather for our 10-year celebration. This is kind of interesting one to walk into a community group with, as it deals with conflict in this marriage. We see this couple in Song of Solomon. They've gotten married, chapter 5. Chapter 3 and 4, really the marriage happens. Chapter 5, we find that there's a conflict. And the source of the conflict is he wants sex, she wants sleep. And I know that's never been an issue for any marriage in the history of our church, right? He wants sex, she wants sleep, and both of them have a moment where they're choosing themselves. That James makes clear, so much of our conflicts come from our own selfish desire to have my way in my time on my standards. And what's amazing about this couple is that even though there is a conflict, they do a lot right in the conflict. And that's really helpful because we see that one of the real gifts of conflict, when handled well and navigated correctly, can result in new growth, can result in deeper intimacy. And maybe one of the just good discussions for tonight in your group is, how has a conflict that you've managed well in your life, how has that actually resulted in a better friendship? How has that actually resulted in a better relationship? A couple things they do right. First, they avoid kind of making it worse, right? Sometimes in conflict, we tend to bring in a bunch of other details. Sometimes in conflict, we desire to go after the other person. And I love how one pastor says it. It's not a perfect statement, but he says, when it comes to conflict in your marriage, you can either win your argument or you can win your marriage. And what tends to happen in bad conflict is it becomes me versus you, and especially in marriage, this becomes volatile. Rather, what a good marriage relationship should have happen is, let's come shoulder to shoulder. Let's look at the issue together. Let's win it together, because we're one flesh. And even if I win, I lose, right? We're one flesh. We're doing this together. We want to get after this issue together. And the couple's really wise in that they don't make the issue worse. Secondly, the couple's really wise because they acknowledge their own parts. And not only do they acknowledge it, not only do they confess what they do wrong, but we also see some hope for change. He becomes a little more gentle in his approach. He's praising her. He's holding her up as esteemed. He's noticing some unique things about her. He's going back to some of the language he used on the wedding night. He's saying, I feel the same. I'm just as committed to you today as I am on the day of our wedding. And she also has become more responsive, more initiating. There's some genuine change in their approach through repentance. And maybe a cool conversation is, how's a conflict in your life resulted in you changing and actually reflecting Christ more? And really, that's so much of what conflict allows. Conflict can be a sanctifying process that helps us to come to know more about Jesus. Lastly, before you kind of wrap up, Monday night's teaching through the evangelism workshop, and just so encouraged to hear the stories of people casting, everything from people at a hair salon to work to their schools and colleges, just people sharing, hey, I took this step, I casted this about my faith. And hope you guys, before you jump into the content of Song of Solomon, just share some stories about how that's going, who took a step of faith this week, who do we need to pray for as we cast out, who are we hoping ends up becoming a Christian because we had the courage to cast out our faith. Hope you guys have a great discussion and look forward to hearing how it goes.